Let's get right now actually to Peter Cook in Washington, because we're getting some late breaking news about the House Financial Services Committee hearing. Peter, tell us what the latest is.
Well, Betty, the latest is Treasury Secretary Tim Geithner's appearance in front of the House Financial Services Committee. First scheduled for 1 o'clock Eastern Time, then moved to 1:30 because of floor votes. Now canceled, postponed to a later date because of floor votes over in the House of Representatives. It's a busy time here in Congress. There are a lot of votes taking place on a whole range of issues. So the Treasury Secretary spared round 2 on the Hill, at least for today, talking about the administration's regulatory reform overhaul.
Spared indeed, but certainly to live another day to talk about that, Peter. I mean, what do you think, at least for this afternoon, what he was expected? What was he expected to get the most pushback from in terms of from the lawmakers?
Well, I think some of the same areas he got pushback this morning in the Senate Banking Committee, specifically lawmakers in both parties we've been talking about. They have concerns about making the Fed this systemic risk regulator, giving so much new authority to the Fed when it already has monetary policy on its plate, a whole range of other concerns dealing with the economy right now. Is the Fed the right place to have this kind of authority? It didn't see this current crisis coming, so why should we assume that the Fed would be able to handle this? That's some of the questions being raised by lawmakers here on the Senate side, and it's the same question that likely is going to be asked by House lawmakers when they do get the chance to question the Treasury Secretary about this plan going forward. That's one area. Another area, Betty, that again we heard today, why doesn't this plan call for greater consolidation of the regulatory agencies here in Washington? You've changed the rules, filled in some of the gaps here. There are lawmakers who believe firmly that you could also limit the number of regulators, streamline the regulatory bodies, and that way make this more efficient, more effective as well. Betty?
Peter, but I want to get to that point again about, you were talking about the systemic risk regulator, because are you getting any clues from lawmakers about if it's not the Fed, who they would want to be in that role?
Well, there's a sense, at least from some lawmakers we've talked to, that there should be a shared responsibility here. It should be maybe this council of regulators involving the Treasury, and also involving the SEC, the FDIC, some of these other banking regulators that would still be in existence. Better to share this responsibility than have one single entity do it. That would allow, again, for regulators to look over each other's shoulders at the same time. The argument from the Treasury Secretary today is when you have a fire like this, you need a single fireman able to put it out, able to make tough decisions, able to move quickly and decisively. And the Treasury Secretary making the case today, the Fed is the best equipped to do that job.
Okay, Peter, thanks so much for giving us the latest update on this. And again, to our viewers, I was Peter Cook, by the way, in Washington. Again, to our viewers, the House Financial Services Committee hearing that was scheduled to start right this moment has been postponed to a later date.